It's the podcast that you didn't know that you needed or wanted. Welcome back. This is us coming back. It's the Raging Buffalo. Derek Kramer, Frank Arcury, Zach Jones, and we're running it back. Because in the key of expert timing, we tried releasing this kind of endeavor before the world went to hell. And now that things have kind of stabilized a little bit, in the sports world at least, and with our lives kind of still being a tattered mess, we decided, why not? Let's bring it back. Let's run it back here one more time. So we're back. And for those of you that have listened to us before, thank you. And for those of you that are new, thank you. Because, again, it's all about hanging out. So how's that for an intro, guys?
Beautiful. I think that was lovely. I think that was very lovely.
So, in our last endeavor, we were more of a sports-centric podcast. Now we're kind of just going to do whatever we want. And from there, we don't know what that means. All we know is we want to have some fun and be a bunch of buttholes about it. So that's what it's going to be. But with the NFL starting up, of course, that's the thing. We do love our football. We do want to talk about it. And the Bills are probably going to go 14-3 at minimum.
You're being real generous there, man. At minimum, generous.
I got people saying they're going to go 17-0. So I don't know how serious they are.
By people, he means Zach.
Yeah. Coming in. We're coming in.
Let's just go ahead. Run the whole thing. Most wins in a season confirmed, ready to go. Of all time.
I knew I'd bring you along.
But no, this Bills team is looking a little ridiculous, and I do mean that in the good way. So it's all just going to depend on how good is Allen again, and other than that, I think everything runs the course.
I mean, it's pretty much, honestly, that's kind of where I sit. I think the defenses look better, and now if that defense would win like the 2017, 2019 range, and Allen doesn't have this horrible regression that Miami Dolphins fans are rooting for. In all seriousness, I look at 2 games on the schedules as toss-ups. Everybody else, I'm like, we should absolutely walk through them, especially the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, really, to me, there's only 4 games that I would call into question, and those ones are Kansas City, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Tampa Bay. That's it. And I feel like they win one of those.
It's kind of where I'm at, yeah.
Considering how they played against Kansas City and Tennessee last year, you'd have to think that they're gonna learn from both of those games and play a lot better and maybe even squeak out a win in at least one of those.
I mean, the Tennessee game last year was just stop turning the ball over, damn it. Because that's all that game was.
It was early turnovers. And then also, I mean, we can't forget either, the weird circumstances that were leading up to both that game and the Kansas City game of, are we playing on a Sunday? Are we playing on a Monday? Who are we playing? Oh, we're playing on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
That is true.
It was just this crazy debacle that I don't think it gave Tennessee a competitive advantage, but it definitely didn't help Buffalo.
Yeah, it was more of just a disadvantage for them. And look, I think that obviously everything going on with the COVID protocols, at this point, it's just availability is the best ability. And if players are not going to be that, then, you can't really count on them for a week-to-week basis. Looking at you, Beasley. However, even if Beasley were to miss a couple games, for example, the receiving core is just absolutely stacked. It's not fair. And
it's
1 to 53, again, this Bills team looks legit. All the way down the roster, there's no player on there that you'd look at and go, that guy might be a liability. It's not that. Not that. Bobby Hart finally got cut, so we don't have to worry about that. And now the team, though, can go forward, see what they can do, and at the very least, go run it back. But now here's the ultimate thing. Ready, guys? I'm going to go ahead and contradict everything I just said with one sentence. You ready?
Uh-oh.
None of this matters until January.
I'm not gonna lie, I love living in that mindset though.
That's a great mindset to live in.
I love living in that mindset that all of us grew up in the age of, well, I just hope we get to 10-6 and make the playoffs. And now we're like, if we finish this season 10-7, all of us are pissed.
Ready? No, because as long as they make it, now it's time to go.
True, but you know you're going to be a little salty because you're like, what just happened? How are we not the number 1 and the number 2 seed?
I'm not like that. I'm just going to be like,
I will be.
The only way I'll be mad is if they don't make it somehow. And other than that, it's just going to be, all right, let's see what happens in January. Like, yeah, sure, I'll watch it and it'll be fun, but I'm not going to worry about anything. They lose a football game, whatever. It's in January where it's really going to matter.
It depends on how they lose. Like if some teams like Washington, for example, or obviously Kansas City and Tennessee, and then if Miami could get one too. Like if they just come out and just are better, but the Bills still win the division, like and let's say like 10-7, or probably wouldn't be 10-7, probably more like 11-6 or 12-5, then it's like, yeah, probably wish you could have done better, but you still won the division at least, or got the wild card, and you're still in, so you still have a chance.
Yeah, it could be looked at like that. The other thing is this, and again, this is where it's all contradictory to me. Anything could happen to a team. Like, yeah, say you squeaked in at 10-7. Yeah, they're still talented enough 1-53 that they can just run. And
yeah,
that's why I say ultimately none of this matters until then.
I mean, I think realistically, we're going to find out just how talented this team is within the first 4 weeks. I think you're going to find out real fast. Are you going to top out at 11 wins and we're just going to hope January you turn it on? Or are we looking more at like 13 to 15 wins? Because I mean, the first 4 games, literally outside of week 4 against Houston, all 3 of those teams can make the playoffs and absolutely lose to Buffalo.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we're also going to see how good is Josh Allen. Like, how good is Josh Allen? Like, if he comes out on fire like he was last year, then we know. Like, we know there's no doubts anymore.
Like, it's not really a hot take. I think just looking at the schedule, we have a bye week, week 7. Josh Allen could become the front runner, running away MVP favorite by the bye week. He's got Pittsburgh's defense. He's got Miami's defense. He's got Washington's defense.
Yeah, those aren't easy.
Yeah, he has Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and then he's got Tennessee. You could go into the bye week with everyone basically going, all right, that's over with. Or you could have it where, all right, Buffalo's 3-2, and they're trying to kind of claw their way back in, get to the end of the season where there's a nice stretch of good games. The MVP could, I'm not going to say get wrapped up. I mean, of course, there's 10 more weeks. But you're going to have someone do something crazy to catch him if that goes well.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There's a lot to it. But I do believe that where this team could always do better is, well, beat those big time opponents. Mm-hmm. And particularly that team in red.
I mean, that's the one.
If you can get a little bit of revenge here, because you went 0-2 against them last year, neither time did you really look any bit okay doing it. Maybe at the very least look more competitive this time around. Be in it to the last drive of the game. Like, show them that you're kind of here to be a thorn in their side for a long time. Because the one fear that I have about this Bills team right now, especially with how good Pat Mahomes is now too, is that the Bills could be that team, like they're close, but never close enough. Good, but never quite good enough. A good team, a consistently good team, but never truly great. That's the one pitfall of having this team being as good as it is that you got to at least make it there.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Last year I said I don't want to make to the Super Bowl and lose. We lost the AFC Championship game in somewhat embarrassing fashion. I mean, our very aggressive nature kind of disappeared. Our wide receivers weren't getting open. Josh was running for his life most of the game. So it was very frustrating game to watch. And now I'm at the point of no, I just want a shot in the Super Bowl. I just want to like conquer and kill the dragon that is Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and have a shot there. Because truthfully now, like going into last year, I was surprised at just how quickly Josh had become from, oh, he's solid, has his moments, has his dumb moments, to you're a top 5 quarterback in the sport, no questions. I would take you over most people, and now it's like now you got to prove that. Now all of a sudden you've got to be the big guy that can just like that. Just every obstacle that gets in your way, you're taking it down. You're mowing through people. I think that is something that some of these greater quarterbacks in our era never got to do. Like there's always been that one, and then everyone else is sort of, either coaching gets in the way or the team kind of falls apart just at the end. I'm like Russell Wilson has only made it to 2 Super Bowls, and while his teams are consistently in the playoffs, I don't think any of us would sit here and say the Seattle Seahawks are a great team. I think even the end of like the Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy era, we'd always be like, I mean, they're in the playoffs, but they're not a great team. And that's the fears that you're going to run out of the great team years and never have made it to the Super Bowl.
You saw
Yeah.
what happened when Rodgers got hurt.
Yeah, those
You
teams
saw
were
where
bad.
that team is.
At least I have the confidence that the Bills aren't that. If Allen gets hurt, they're still going to be a winning team. They're not going to be a great team. I think though that we bring up Rodgers though again, and for as great as he is, he only made it to what, 2?
Still made it to 1.
Oh, he only made it to 1. That's right. He was
Just
only
one, yeah.
1-0. Good lord.
He's made it to a number of NFC Championship games, but he has only made it to 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't want that to be the case here.
But yeah, I was going to say Rodgers is sort of my fear for Allen because they do play so similarly. But I mean, that 1 Super Bowl too. I mean, they were a wild card team that year, got hot, and they were able to just kind of ride that offense in. That's my fear for Allen, that it's always more of that, like, what could have been, and that genuinely is a fear, which, like, I'm glad it's a thing now because,
The thing we also have to take into account too is coaching.
oh,
Rodgers-
absolutely.
Coaching has been letting Rodgers down in those games for so long. We saw it last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in part, you could really say a lot of, if not most of, Rodgers' prime was wasted by Mike McCarthy
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
bad defenses.
Yeah, that's something that the Bills don't have to worry about, but at the same time, I don't want to have to worry about that either. Like, just let it all keep going. And that's where Brandon Beane comes in. And the man has been a godsend of sorts. Sean McDermott, the head coach, obviously, it really does allow you to have some peace of mind with this team and how it's constructed. I just want to make sure, though, that this regime does not get too close, but not close enough.
Yeah, I think that would be incredibly disheartening, especially for this regime, because
You
they
think-
had they've had 2015 with Carolina, where I mean they went 15-1. They were the most exciting team of that year,
Mhm.
and then lost the Super Bowl, not in embarrassing fashion, but lost the Super Bowl and
Very
just
convincingly.
yeah, very convincingly, and could never get back. And I think McDermott and Bean both left pretty quickly after that, of course. As we're seeing, Cam Newton's no longer in Carolina. Only 6 years later, Ron Rivera's gone. Luke Kuechly retired. I mean, very quickly things completely change.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be my biggest fear at this point for this team. Like, you think a 17-year playoff drought is bad? If we go 10 years and only 1 Super Bowl appearance, or 10 years and no Super Bowl appearances, for example, with undoubtedly the best quarterback that this franchise has ever had,
It's going to hurt. That is very much going to hurt.
that would be
Gonna be-
bad.
It's going to be very frustrating.
That'd be a different kind of pain. And
Yeah.
one that, yeah, I'm ready to get hurt, but I don't want to get hurt like that.
I know, right? We all joke about that, but that's one thing where by year 8, 7, 8, you're kind of sitting there going, how's it gonna end this year?
By year 7 or 8, you're at that point starting to question, okay, who needs to go?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to have that conversation with especially with this whole group. I'm not gonna lie, it's been the only successful like group of like guys I've seen in Buffalo. So for me, like there's like almost this panic of if we get rid of these guys, are we gonna go back to the Dick Duran eras or the Doug Marrone eras?
So yeah,
Just because it took forever to get these guys.
we are talking about a different kind of pain here. I
Look at
never would have
Pittsburgh.
thought. I would have never thought that this is the discussion we'd end up having, but yeah, this is that's what Frank. I think that's the title today. A different kind of pain. And you look though, and you just see the promise on this team and where it comes from and how it is just all throughout the roster. So, yeah, I don't want this to go, and I don't want to sour on it. So they better get something going. They better get there, because otherwise we're gonna start having some bad conversations. Oh, you think the takes are bad now? Oh, wait until we don't make a Super Bowl in 5 years.
Not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
Because then that's when you're going to see the true genius of social media show its stupid, ugly face. Like, the one thing that annoys me right now about Bills fans on social media is any one thing that you say negatively about this team, they are on you like flies on shit.
Yeah,
It's so annoying.
it's rough. It's rough. And that's the thing. I don't think any of us are going to call out names, but this constant have to defend like every single soul on this team. I'm like, all right, we gotta bring it the hell down.
Yeah, like just alleged disrespect. Look, I get it. We were 17 years used to being disrespected because we freaking earned it. I would say there are national pundits actually picking this team to win the Super Bowl. Like, that is seriously what's happening. Seth Walder, ESPN, legitimately just put out something saying that they win the Super Bowl on an analytic simulation.
Granted, we didn't even start off well in that simulation either.
Yeah, in this simulation, we also lose to the Patriots and to Mac Jones by giving up 45 points.
So I'm saying, like, the simulation didn't go perfect for us, and we still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so, again, we are going, like, so everyone definitely has to shut up about, oh, we're not being respected. Like, shut the actual hell up.
I mean,
you cannot say that.
I mean, we're consistently playing on prime time. We will likely 2 weeks in a row be the game of the week, if not like the one everyone's talking about. We're playing on Thanksgiving 2 out of 3 years.
In prime time this time.
Yeah, in prime time.
And there are national pundits saying the Bills will win it all.
So anyone that wants to like keep like that whole like I actually like when like no one talks about us, stop. You're lying to yourself. That's from 17 years of abuse of having a terrible football team.
No. There's a difference between not wanting, like, there's a difference between not wanting people to talk about you and people saying there's a disrespect amongst the national media.
Yes.
Like, one person's only lying to himself. The other person is lying to everyone. Because what they're saying is not true.
Like, this team is one of the favorites, probably one of the big 4 favorites for the next few years to make the Super Bowl, if not win the whole thing.
They're actual betting favorites in Vegas amongst the top 5 of teams with the best odds to win the effing Super Bowl. So stop. Like,
they're the best stop. They're the best betting favorite team that's not Kansas City and Tampa. The 2 teams that made the Super Bowl last year. Like,
and that makes sense.
I think last time I saw like the Bills are like plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl.
As it's wont to do. Like, your defending champions usually stay at the top there for betting favorites. So for a team to be there at the top 5, stop saying that there's something there. Okay, Napoleon.
The whole keep Buffalo a secret thing was fine last year because it was like, well, they just
were
blew up
cheeky
last
underdogs.
year. Yeah, and they blew up last year. But now it's like, okay, what can you do? Can you go further than what you did last year? And the attention is just going to come with it. And with that attention, it's also going to come the expectations.
Yeah, I just have to say it one more time. to anyone that thinks that they are disrespecting you because one person doesn't want to sing along, just stop. Everyone's allowed to have their own kind of opinions, and you don't need to jump down the throat of any one person. Like, I hate that I have to bring this name up, but Nick Wright probably is going to do the same thing. I haven't listened to him. I haven't seen any of his takes, but I'm pretty sure I have the name muted on Twitter still. So he's probably going to say things to piss Bills fans off. Guess what? It works because every one of you take the friggin' bait. And when I say every one of you, I obviously don't mean every one of you, but there are enough of you that take the frickin' bait. Stop doing it. Learn how to win with some GD dignity at this point. Like, come on. Let's do it.
And that's the thing too. When you're a team that also is going to have expectations, it's going to get talked about. There's always going to be haters.
Exactly.
I mean, look at a different sport, but like LeBron's entire career's been based off that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the all-time greatest basketball players of all time. And there's every morning you turn on a sports talk show, someone's disrespecting him. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah. And the other thing about it is just, again, stop lying. That's all it is. If you're saying the national media is disrespecting the Buffalo Bills, you're wrong. You're not even.
Yeah, you're just flat wrong.
It's not even opinion. You're wrong. You're literally wrong. You are not correct.
You were not correct.
Like, Frank all the way off with this. So, again, you can have disagreements. You can have debates. Like if someone says Lamar Jackson's better than Josh Allen, well, guess what? There's actual hardware that says that. And they were drafted in the same draft class. So, sure, I can listen to that argument. You know, Lamar has an MVP. Josh Allen doesn't. But Josh Allen went to an AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson hasn't. Lamar Jackson lost to Josh Allen in a head-to-head in the playoffs.
Yep.
So there's that's a debate, legit.
Oh, absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that people freaking hate the guy. Like, it's a personal attack to some people. And I got to say, we got to stop. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop showing up at airports for basic wins.
I'm so glad you brought that up to finish this up. So glad that was brought up.
We as a city, 17 years, were tormented with ass.
It traumatized us.
And yes, I get that it feels right to act on some of those sorts of behaviors, but like nostalgia here doesn't need to be a thing. We don't need to remember players like, I don't know, Travis Brown. Wasn't that one of the old quarterbacks of the drought days?
Was it?
I don't know, man.
Well,
I feel like it is. Like, we don't have to worry about a name like Mark Campbell, the tight end, or someone like that. We don't need to bring up draftology names anymore. Because yeah, it's comfortable because we lived 17 years of it. But you don't have to anymore. It's okay. Forget about it. At least for now. Like, yeah, you want to stay humble. No, this team's a favorite. Shut up. Get cocky. Get real cocky. You know what I mean? Like, get real cocky.
I was gonna say, you guys heard how I was acting like with like the pick'ems. Like, I'm already there.
Yeah, no, I will say it right now. I am once again, we're back at it. And how many times, Zach, last year, when we would just like hang out for games like over a Discord or something, I'm going to say the line, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to say it every time now. Every week, I am a cocky bitch. And
I mean, like, that's the thing though. This team's got swag now, dude. Like, they got like legit swag.
They're legit. And I got to just ask, because so real quick, now I'm noticing here that we have our first 2-time member of the relaunch of the Raging Buffalo on with us now. That's Marcos Watkins.
What's poppin', everybody?
There he is.
Mm.
Oh, you know, we're just being real arrogant over here talking about the Bills. I mean, real arrogant.
Hey, you know what? To be honest, if y'all, if I, as a member of a fan of a team, had gone through what I know many Bills fans have been going through for, let's say, the last 20 plus years. I would start to feel a little cocky too when my team starts doing good, especially when, particularly, I can tell you, as someone who grew up in the Long Island area and at the time didn't know y'all and didn't really know Buffalo, to the outside world, Buffalo kind of became a meme. Specifically, the Bills kind of became a meme. So it's kind of like,
They were
thou who was last will one day be first,
They were a friggin' meme before the word existed, man. You lose 4 straight Super Bowls, people always pick fun at that. That was before the word meme existed. So, yeah, it just, and I want to move on from this, but Marcos, I just want to ask real quick, how annoying is it when Bills fans say, oh, the national media is overlooking us, when it's legitimately a lie?
It really doesn't. It doesn't bother me too much because I think when you are a Buffalo Bills fan and have been one for quite a time, you kind of get used to being an underdog. I do think there are numbers, not as many as there used to be, but there are still numbers of national media members that may not necessarily be on the bandwagon, the Nick Wrights of the world or whatever have you, or anything like that. But I would say that most people now should realize who we are and what's up and what the Bills are all about.
I just have to say to those fans, though, you got to stop lying because it's not true. Like, there's haters, and there's always haters. And Zach brought up a really great example with LeBron James. There's always a national talking head that hates on him. So I'm just telling those people, grow up.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Why care? At the end of the day, the history is written by the victors. Win. That's all that matters.
That's a very good line and a pretty good way, I think, for us to move on to our next point here, our next subject, and really my favorite subject. Marcos, you're coming into this with no preparation.
Well, that's why I know sports as well as I do. I'm like Kobe. I'm like Kobe. I don't even have to put my shorts on. I can just hit threes all day.
Speaking of arrogance, there we go. He's feeling it already. He just jumped in here. He's got the same energy. Let's go. All right, guys. And Frank, I'm going to trust your expertise on this one to get us some of that fine music in the background eventually when this thing gets released. But guys, we're doing this on a Monday. And back when we were all in college and we did a show called the Buffalo Blitz, we did weekly pick'ems on Mondays.
Yes, we did.
We did.
So in order to get some of that WBNY energy once again, I have everything written down. And I want to do pick'ems every week.
Yep, I'm already here for it.
And I think the winner just gets to brag in like a 15-second video just to like tell us what's up every week. So without further ado, guys, shall we get it started?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Zach, since you were the only one to acknowledge that statement, you're going first.
Sounds good.
And Marcos, since you joined in late, you're going to go last.
I'll live with that.
Frank, I will have you going second, and I'll go third.
Okay.
So, Zach, we get started. It's Dallas. It's Tampa Bay. It's the 2021 season kicking off on Thursday.
I mean, like, it's Tampa, right?
You're right. It's Dallas they're facing.
I like Dak Prescott, but like we all did forget because of his injury that he's not very good against very, very quality teams. I think the Bucs now bringing everyone back. I think they're just too loaded. I don't like the feel around the Dallas team. I don't. I watched Hard Knocks. They're boring as shit, and I just don't buy into Mike McCarthy. I don't.
All right, Frank, what do you got?
I don't like Dallas overall. I love CeeDee Lamb this year, especially if Dak's healthy. But Tampa's just too good of a team right now They have Brady. They have the weapons in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. So I think Tampa's gonna win this one, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if it was a 10-point victory.
Dallas can
Dallas's
score.
defense is awful.
Dallas can score, and that's the one thing they have going for them. But it's the Cowboys. I ain't trusting them with anything. So yeah, no, Tampa. All right, Marcos.
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna disagree with Zach on one thing. I don't actually see Dallas as very boring. I think Mike McCarthy is boring, but I do think this is an exciting team. I mean, we're talking about Dak and Zeke. We know what they can do. We're talking about Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, very exciting receiving core. I do strongly believe Dallas will go this year as their offensive line goes, and if their offensive line can stay healthy, they'll be a lot better on than they have been in recent years, which has kind of been their issue. They did a great job building up such a great offensive line, and once those guys started to taper off physically, they've now kind of had a little bit of issues develop. I don't think the game will probably be as bad as y'all trying to make it out to be, but yeah, I will pick Tampa, and I do think Tampa will at least get this one, but I will not be surprised if Dak can pull this one out on his revenge tour.
Dude, I'm just going to throw the hot take out there on this one. This is going to be like 44-13.
Oh, go real heavy on it.
I wasn't saying that bad.
You just reminded me that McCarthy's their head coach. They're totally getting boat raced on opening day.
I will openly admit, as a fan of an NFC East team, I am biased, and I think that I hope for the division to be better than what probably a lot of other people think it is. So.
Nah, dude, tank division. Let's keep that ball rolling, baby. Give me another 7-win team out of the NFC East.
I really hope not.
That was so much fun, though. As an outside fan, that was so much fun.
Seeing Joe Judge literally bitch about his 6-win team not getting a fair shake because Philly decided, we're going to play for the 7th overall pick instead. It's laughable to me how that man was just like, oh, they tagged. Dude, you lost to them. Shut up. So all glory be to Tank Division. And may we see another version of it somewhere. Now, speaking of tanking, the Houston Texans, baby, they go up against Jacksonville.
So, has there been any recent update at all on Deshaun? What's the deal with that whole situation?
Tyrod's starting.
I think it was
all we know.
Tyrod's starting. Watson will be rostered and scratched every week.
Okay, so he's not even suiting up.
No, he's going to be the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart every week.
Oh yeah, so this is tank. This is premier tank team.
Oh my God! If they win 3 games, I'm going to be astounded. They could win one here, though.
Before y'all make your picks, can we just give a little credit and a bit of a clap to Mr. Tyrod Taylor? I genuinely really like the guy. I think he's a good guy. He's at this point now he is a veteran of the league, and is he a great quarterback? No, but he's a hard-working guy. Nobody really ever has a bad thing to say about him. Did obviously good work in Buffalo, and he just seems to keep running into very unfortunate circumstances everywhere he goes now.
I will say one line about Tyrod Taylor, and one alone that will just be able to speak everything about what I feel for this man.
And what is that?
The drought buster will always have respect in my heart.
That is good.
That's a good way.
Always will have respect and love in my heart. Thank you for being there and being at least good enough to break a 17-year freaking playoff drought. Because if they went QB fishing and grabbed Josh Allen without a playoff berth in there, oh my God, it would have been so much uglier. All right. You know what? I'm changing up the order. I'm going to go first as I introduce the games, give my pick, and not take a lot of time, and then let you guys deliberate. I think Trevor Lawrence will get his first win in his first start.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much where I'm at too. Every report coming out of Houston is that even the team vibe is kind of ugly and just either that or lackadaisical. So I just don't see much fight in this Houston team. I don't think the Jaguars are overly untalented either. I think the offensive line is bad, but I love offensive skill positions. Even with Etienne going down for the year, Robinson is more than a good enough running back. And I've been telling people I think DJ Chark is in for a huge year this year. He's already made a Pro Bowl, but I think this is the year. Him and Chenault, I think they're going to pop off this year. Even with them potentially being bad, they're going to be in a ton of games where they just got to throw the ball a ton. I like Jacksonville in this game, but I like DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault year long.
All right. Frank, what do you got?
I am also gonna take Jacksonville. We all know Houston's gonna be horrible this year, as long as they're sitting Watson and everything with all that going on. I'm still really high on Lawrence too. I think he's gonna be great. I think he'll get his first win in this game. And I like the thing of GJ Chark might go off too.
I'm pounding that desk, dude. I'm pounding that desk.
Marcos?
Yeah, no, I hate to say it, I'd have to go the same way. I mean, look, I'd be surprised if Houston, if Houston wins one game this year, honestly, I'd be kind of surprised. So, and listen, Trevor Lawrence has looked really good so far in the preseason. I know there's a lot of people that aren't very high on Urban Meyer, and they're wondering what's going to go on with that. But to be honest, I think he's a little bit better of a coach than people give him credit for. And Trevor Lawrence has got a decent way of supporting cast around him. Certainly a little bit better compared to Blaine Gabbert when he kind of got his start with Jacksonville. So I'll give it to the Jaguars on this one. So find our good friend Pumpkin and thumbs up for him.
So 2 clean sweeps to start it. I think we start to get our disagreements starting right now. Chargers football team. And I do think I have a lot of respect for the Chargers roster. I don't know how well it's going to be coached. So with that, I'm going with the ultimate wild card and saying that the football team will win in week 1 because that defense is disgustingly good. That pass rush is horrifying. And Ryan Fitzpatrick can win or lose you a game literally by himself.
I'm also gonna go Washington for mostly the same reasons, but I do think this game is gonna be mega close the whole way.
Yeah, this will be tight. And
I think I'm gonna take Washington too.
Oh boy, are we gonna
It's
get our
gonna
third?
be a real close one, and the Chargers are gonna. I think they're gonna be a team if they are coached well. They're gonna challenge for a wild card spot.
All right. I'm just gonna say for the sake of levity here, let's at least go a little faster with these. Marcos.
Yeah, you guys might be surprised to hear this one. I'm actually going to pick the Chargers on this one.
Leave it to the fan of the team to not pick the team.
Listen, I love them, but to be honest, what I might love even more this year, honestly, is Justin Herbert. I think he's gonna. He was good. He was really good last year. I think he's gonna pop off even more this year.
Yeah, I gotta say, like that is the one. Like this is going to be probably the hardest decision that I've had to make so far, easily. But like maybe in all of the picks is the Chargers and Washington game. All right, Seattle, Indy. I think that Seahawks are still the cream of the crop. You don't know what the quarterback situation is with the Colts right now. Give me the Hawks.
I'm gonna go Indy. Looks like Quinn Nelson's gonna be there. Carson Wentz is gonna be there. I love Jonathan Taylor, but I'm gonna go Indy.
Indy's got a really good defense too, so they're gonna keep him in it. It's gonna be a close one the whole game. But I'm gonna take Seattle just to edge this one out.
Give me Seattle. Russell Wilson's too trustworthy.
If we knew for sure that Wentz was starting, I'd probably go Indy.
Yeah, I would agree there. If that was the case, even though I think Jacob Eason can actually come in and probably do an okay enough job, at least to keep him in it.
All right. Oh wow. Sam Darnold already gets his revenge game in week 1. I love it. Carolina and the Jets. Nothing against. Actually, yes, everything against the Jets. They're terrible.
Sam Darnold revenge game happens.
Yeah, so Carolina by 30.
I think people are this Carolina team is going to be good quickly.
They're gonna be fun.
No, and no one's talking about Brian Burns on the edge. Holy shit. AC Horn might be defensive rookie of the year type guy. And they have an elite looking rookie wide receiver in Marshall. Plus the guys like Robbie Anderson. McCaffrey's coming back. I think Carolina's going to be good this year. I'm taking them easily against the Jets.
Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be a shameful game there. Man, what a couple of clunkers we might have here early on. All right. Mini, Cincy. So Min versus Sin. I think I'm taking the Vikings here just because the Bengals roster's still not there, and we don't know what Joe Burrow's going to do rebounding from that kind of injury. But I also think that in typical Vikings fashion, it's going to be a lot closer than it looks. But I'm going to take the reliable ground game of Dalvin Cook here.
I think that's why they have the line at Minnesota -3, just because you don't know what the Vikings are gonna do when you have Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. I think Minnesota wins this one as well. It's gonna be a real close game. I'm excited to see what Jamar Chase is gonna do though.
Yeah, I'm not. I think the Jamar Chase storyline might be a really fascinating one because his preseason and his training camp was just, I wouldn't even say it was up and down. It was just a ton of down.
It was dreadful.
And it's very interesting to see how he bounces back against, I don't want to say a secondary he can go against, but just, you almost got to imagine when real bullets are flying kind of deal in a real game, Burrow's going to go to him a lot. I think Burrow can do really well against Minnesota. I am going to take the Vikings, but Jamar Chase storyline is fascinating in this game.
I'm sorry, Zach, I missed your pick there. What was it again?
Minnesota.
Okay. And Marcos?
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna have to pick against Cincy every single time until they fire Zachary Taylor. So I'm definitely picking against it.
I can kind of get behind that.
I get behind.
Not a Zachary Taylor fan at all. Never really understood why they put him in that spot.
What, you don't like Diet Kingsbury? He's not even Diet McVay, he's Diet Kingsbury.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Like if there was, like, you know how there's Dr. Pepper and then there's Mr. Pibb. So obviously you got McVay, he's the Dr. Pepper, and Kingsbury's your Mr. Pibb. He didn't get a doctorate degree, but he's got a GED and a can-do attitude. And then Zach Taylor is just the syrup without any of the carbonation. And now I'm just thinking about how disgusting. I'm just thinking about how disgusting it would be if someone just drank pop syrup.
So Minnesota and Dalvin Cook it is for the win.
Yeah. So first off, listeners, you're welcome for that little visual now. Just someone slugging back syrup. Arizona, Tennessee.
I hope you are okay.
Arizona, Tennessee. Because if there's one thing that I hate more than people slugging pop syrup, it's the Titans. So I'm going to pick Arizona here. Even though I respect Tennessee's roster, I do not respect the franchise.
I can't trust Arizona. Like, I can't even trust Cliff Kingsbury as far as I can throw him. I think the best thing he's done for Arizona was show off his house during the 2020 draft. Outside of that, I can't do it. I don't
have some respect for Mr. Pibb.
I mean, it's just. I think the interesting thing with Tennessee is how do they do with Arthur Smith now in Atlanta? I think that's really the big thing. Is Ryan Tannehill actually, revitalized post the Adam Gase era in Miami, or was it, Arthur Smith legit being a great coach? I think it's a bit of both. But I don't like Arizona. I'm just going to flat out say it. I think for the rest of the year, I'm going to say it. I don't trust them. I think last year, not a fluke, but I think that's going to be pretty much their peak with Cliff.
Oof. Frank.
I'm going to say Tennessee wins this one. I do think it'll be a high-scoring game because you got to love Kyler Murray. You got to love DeAndre Hopkins. I love Chase Edmonds as well. I think he's going to have 1,000 yards this season, have like maybe 9 or 10 touchdowns. I'm really high on him. But when you look at the roster overall, I mean, I don't know what their defense is going to be like. I think Derrick Henry's just going to run all over them all day, and I think Tennessee will squeak this one out, but in a real high scoring game.
All right, Marcos.
Arizona definitely still has some problems to fill, but let me tell you all this. These are the options Kyler Murray will be throwing to this year. AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Andy Isabella, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore. Yeah, now I'm going with Tennessee, bro. Listen, they're in a tough division, which is probably one of the things that hurt them in the long run, but I think there is a lot of talent potential on that team, and I think that they can really make some moves this year.
You think long-term Rondale Moore is going to be amazing.
Hang on. So you're picking Tennessee, though, even though you listed the options for Arizona.
No, I'm picking Arizona.
Okay. You said the wrong name, my friend.
I apologize.
I got very confused for a second. All right. Oh, this one should be easy. San Fran and Detroit. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick not Detroit and hedge my bet there.
Yeah, should we all just sing San Fran in like a harmony together?
All right, everyone clear your windpipes. Here we go.
In 3, 2, 1. San Francisco.
Yeah, that's not how I was expecting that to sound.
What? Terrible because we're on an internet thing?
Detroit.
Well, that and also we're probably just all tone deaf, but
Not these nuts.
No, it's not these knees.
Oh shit. All right, so I'm just gonna write that one down. We can move on.
Yeah, that's easy.
yeah,
All right.
please do so.
All right. Pittsburgh Buffalo. Should I just write this one across the board?
Do we want to deep dive this one, or do we want to do this, or do we just kind of want to go through it real quick?
Actually, let's do this one last.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should dive a little bit better into this one. Give our because we were just talking about them for half hour. All right, so Philly, Atlanta. Oh boy.
Ooh,
I
love this matchup.
This is a toughie.
The Battle of the Birds.
Battle of the Birds, but who's gonna? This one's gonna be a matter of who trips over the log last. I'm gonna take Philly.
I'm also taking Philly. Derek, I'm a lot more confident than you, though. That receiving core, I think if they can all figure it out, dude, I think regardless, guys like Marcos Watkins and Miles Sanders, I think give enough pop to this Philly team. They're going to surprise some people, especially early on with the new head coach. They're going to surprise some people.
Marcos Watkins is really fast.
Holy shit.
He could really be something this year. And I'm really love Devonta Smith as well. And I'm very curious to see what Jalen Hurts is going to be like.
All right, Marcos.
In another alternate universe, Josh Rosen becomes a star with Kyle Pitts as his main weapon, but that will not happen on Sunday. I'm picking Eagles.
Betting line, though, has Falcons at 3.5. I mean, like, we're all kind of taking a little bit of a heat.
I mean, they are at home.
Yeah, is it the Louis DiBiase effect on us?
No, it's the Atlanta's a perennial choker, and they'll do it and start the season strong in week 1 with it. Or at least that's
so
what
we're expecting what we saw last year to happen again.
I have
the first 4 weeks.
I have no respect for the Atlanta Falcons, man. They always start their seasons terribly and then find a way to claw back to like 7 wins. So no,
except for that one season when they went to the Super Bowl and they started out 5-0. But man, we'll forget that part.
No,
Yeah,
and then they just went and made the whole country hate them after that. Speaking of teams that the whole country might hate at this point, Kansas City hosting Cleveland. I'll take the Chiefs, but I don't like it.
Vegas got the Chiefs at 6.5. I'm taking the Browns here. I think that roster might be the best in football. The only reason we're all not like unanimously saying Cleveland's going to go to the Super Bowl is just because their quarterback is not a top 5 guy. I think Baker is more than capable enough to take this team to like 13, 14 wins. I could see the Browns absolutely upsetting the Chiefs week 1.
Oh, okay. Frank and
This
Marcos.
is a real close one. I'm going to say Kansas City squeaks this one.
Genuinely tempted to jump in on that line too at 6.5. I think even if the Browns don't
Yeah.
win, they could cover the hell out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a solid betting line.
that's what I'm thinking too.
What do you got, Marcos?
Yeah, you know what? I know it probably is considered a bit more on the contrarian side, but I'll go for the Browns too. I think they're I'm a lot higher in them than I think a lot of other people are. I think a lot of people kind of think they have a certain ceiling, and I think they can easily be a conference championship Super Bowl contending team this year.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't like hearing that because that's another threat.
It is what it is, man.
All right. Packers, New Orleans. Jameis Winston starting. You know you're getting every level of the Jameis Winston experience in that one. Like, he's going for 350. He might throw 3 picks. But the Packers are too complete to me.
Yeah, I think at least for the beginning part of the year, I think the Packers are going to be really in tune with themselves. I'm going to take the Packers here.
Green Bay.
I would go with A-Rod too, but I will go with the Packers, but I will make this one comment. I think this is actually going to be one of those years where Jameis Winston turns it around a little bit more than you guys think.
I fully expect it. I'm excited for Jameis this year.
I'm happy that Winston's the starter over Taysom friggin' Hill. Like, what a waste of time that would be. Speaking of waste of time, this next game, Denver and the Giants. I'm going to take the Broncos here easy.
Yep, Denver. Don't even waste time on it, guys. Denver. I know. Listen, I know. We are disappointing our great friend Manny Rodriguez as we say this, but
nah, he would say the same thing.
No, I think he would say that Saquon's going to run for like 400,
and they'd still lose.
I'm going to go Giants.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, really?
Their defense is going to be really good this year. That right away can win them this game.
Denver's defense is good.
I am kind of on Frank's side though.
I think the Giants' defense is better.
That defense, if it wasn't in the same division as Washington, would be talked about a lot more.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's wrong about the defense per se, but it's just the Giants team as a whole. I'm very meh on.
Oh, this game is going to be low scoring.
I'm not
true,
even
probably
meh
true.
I'm not even meh on this. Joe Judge is not a good coach to me.
I mean, I wasn't going to go that far, but it is the fact of the matter of the situation is, we heard about all the reports of everything of, him being very hard, disciplinarian, everything like that. And it's not that I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, if that's your coaching style, that's your coaching style. But the fact of the matter is, I think particularly in today's world, more players respect that after you've already proven yourself and you've been a winner. And Joe Judge hasn't proven anything on the head coach level yet.
Hell, he's bitched about his 6-win team not having a fair shake at a division race.
We could say that as well.
I'm not letting that go. Not letting that go. All right, Miami, New England. I'm going to take Mac Jones over Tua on this one. I think that the return of a lot of their defensive players makes this game a lot harder, and I don't think that Miami has enough offensively at quarterback per se to overcome that problem. And Bill Belichick still feasts on young quarterbacks, or at least he did until Josh Allen went ahead and destroyed him in the second go-around. But in the first one, he made things a little miserable for Allen last year. So if he could still make Allen's life miserable half the time, I would say he can easily do it to Tua Tagovailoa. So Patriots, begrudgingly.
I'm going to go the opposite way, but sort of for the same reasons. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Historically, rookie quarterbacks in the first start do not win. I don't think we're going to get 2 in week 1. But also, Flores might be the only truly great Belichick assistant to leave and become his own head coach. I think that Miami Dolphins defense, I think he's going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at Mac Jones. And the Patriots played a lot of starters during the preseason to figure out that quarterback competition. I think the world's going to look a little different for Mac Jones post week 1. I think he's going to have a rough time to start his NFL career.
I'm also going to say Miami. And I really do like the weapons they have. I think Myles Gaskin's going to be really good this year. I'm interested to see how they're going to use Jalen Waddle. And New England's going to have a better defense overall, but remember they are getting a lot of these starters back, but they also haven't played a football game in over a year. And obviously they have the preseason, but preseason game action and regular season game action are two different things. So there's still going to be just that little unknown there.
All right, Marcos, wrap it up here.
Yeah, no, I'm taking Miami.
All right. We got 2 more before the Bills one here. We got Chicago and the Rams. I'm giving the Rams, and I shouldn't think that one will be too hard. Though the Bears' defense is still to be respected.
I think this is going to be a bad game.
But the Rams.
I think it's going to be a very, very bad game.
Oh, you think it's going to be a bad game?
I think the Rams are actually going to sort of embarrass the Bears, and you're going to have a real heart-to-heart moment where it's going to be one of those very embarrassing moments where week 2 Nagy has to play Fields, so the locker room doesn't give up on him in September.
Does it get so bad that Fields goes into this game?
Yes, I fully believe that will happen.
Oh, wow.
That offensive line's not good. Andy Dalton can't move. Andy Dalton's a fine quarterback, but this whole comparison to Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes and sitting them that year, we got to stop disrespecting Alex Smith and what he did at Kansas City. He was a good to really good quarterback. Andy Dalton has been that, I think, maybe 1 year his entire career. I think this could get bad. Whatever Matt Nagy's deal was with Andy Dalton should have been tossed out after week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah, to capitalize on that, Andy Dalton never even won a playoff game all them years in Cincinnati. Alex Smith damn near almost went to a Super Bowl. 1 year with San Francisco. So, yeah, I would take the Rams on that too. And until Justin Fields start, I'm not really going to be very high on the Bears. I know the defense is to be respected, but to me, if they're going to make any true strides, Justin Fields needs to be in.
All right, last game here. Baltimore Raiders. Come on, it's Lamar over Lamar over Carr.
I wouldn't even say if it's like Lamar over Carr. I mean, Mike Mayock I actually think quite loudly, has had one of the worst drafting tenures a GM has had in a long time.
I don't know if it's truly up to him, though. I feel like Gruden is behind all of this because he's got part ownership in the team.
It completely could be, and I would not be surprised. I wouldn't even bat an eye if we found that out. But holy shit, some of the defensive capital they have essentially wasted. I think Abram is maybe the only guy worth anything on that defense. They can't stop the run. They can't stop
the pass. Sucks to me.
Abram, to me, is just there is no slowdown.
He's a box safety. He's basically a linebacker.
Yeah, there's no off switch or slow down, and it costs him a lot. And it's just I don't like the Raiders at all. And people have talked about how Gruden's not on the hot seat, Carr's not on the hot seat, but Mayock is. Mayock should have been fired last year. I don't know.
Gruden's not on the hot seat. He owns part of the team.
That's what I'm saying. I think Raiders fans are just going to be locked in this mediocrity if they're going to bitch about Carr. But like I said with Smith, Carr's a damn good quarterback if he can get with solid coaching, not a complete.
Free this man. Free him.
Yes,
free him of John Gruden.
Yes.
You know where I would love Derek Carr to go? Minnesota.
Yes.
Get rid of Kirk Cousins, get Carr in there. That team immediately becomes a serious problem.
Yeah. All right, Frank, Marcos, let's get those picks in. We'll talk Bills Steelers here.
Baltimore.
I'll take Baltimore as well, even though I think Zach's a little bit maybe too harsh on Mike Mayock. I can understand some of those decisions, the Alex Leatherwood pick, the Cleveland Farrell pick. I get it. I don't think the team is that bad as that. I do think they could at least be playoff contenders at the very least.
I mean, he is saying only about the drafting acumen in particular.
Right.
But I'm with you on this. I don't think that's all on Mayock, though. I think Gruden
Yeah.
has a lot to say about it. All right, guys.
Now, granted, you could also argue real quick. I want to get this in here. You could also argue it's like when you look at what their division is and who they have to beat to get to the next step. Yeah, that I would say they need to be doing more in that aspect because the team is competitive and a bit more competitive in my opinion than I think it was kind of before Gruden came around. But it's not going to be good enough in my opinion. I think to overrule over the Chiefs or overrule over the Chargers.
All right, guys, we don't have much time, and we do have a Bills-Steelers game to talk about here. So, week 1, we were just talking about this team, how I think 1-53, they are one of the best in the league. Not just top-heavy, their depth. If there's injuries, they can overcome it. If they have Josh Allen under center, they're fine. If they need to miss him for a couple games, Trubisky will do good enough. I think that this team is legit a terrifying opponent for most teams, and that would include a very good Steelers defense. That said, they'll make this a game. Not because of the offense, but because of Pittsburgh's defense. They have enough talent, and if TJ Watt can annoy Allen into being out of the pocket a lot, that could do something to this team. However, Ben Roethlisberger is cooked to me. He is done. He should not have come back, and they are going to rue this. I don't think that they make a playoff push at all. I think they're going to be mediocre as hell, and I think Ben Roethlisberger fades into the sunset with a 9-8 record. So I think the Bills will win this one, but the defense on Pittsburgh's side might make this a little scarier than it should be.
I think I pretty much agree with most of those points. I would say every single one. I think the big thing with Pittsburgh, we're trying to fix their run game / offensive line this year. They're likely going to start 2 rookies week 1 against Buffalo, and instead to fix their run game, they didn't really put any high end capital into their run game. They drafted a tight end or a running back, then a tight end before they drafted even one lineman. I don't love that scenario. I think to fix your run game, you have to fix your line first. And then I'll flat out say it. I mean, I was with 2 of you with the draft. I was very wrong on Gregory Rousseau, just off the rip. He may not wind up being like an all-pro defensive player of the year guy, but I was definitely wrong in his initial grading, and I'll absolutely say that. AJ Epinesa is coming in. He has looked unbelievably different. He's faster. He's stronger. That D-line is going to be a platoon. I think I think its goal should be to look like the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles. I think this game will be close in terms of the scoreboard, but I think by like the third quarter, most Bills fans know we're starting 1-0.
And that's one of the things, as you think about it, I think it's going to kind of set up the difference between the two. You know, the Steelers, the offensive line was one of the most important parts of that team for quite some time now. And you think about they've lost Alejandro Villanueva, Pouncey retired, David DeCastro was cut. And everybody and their mother was kind of going like, why did you guys not look to try to get maybe a little bit more help, bring in somebody new, young guy in the draft? And then they end up drafting Najee Harris, who, I like, but I think they're going to be some trouble as far as the offensive line goes. Like, I really think that's going to be a problem for them, especially for what is a rejuvenated and retooled Buffalo Bills defensive line. I think the Steelers may have still something left as far as the skill guys go, because again, I think Harris is good. They still have Juju and Claypool, who, they still can play. All right, they may have been disappointing at times, but they still can play. And even Big Ben himself, I think he shouldn't have came back either, but he's still Big Ben. He's still a veteran of this game. He's still a smart guy. But yeah, I would say that the edge there that the Bills have when it's going to come to the trenches, I think is going to win the game out for them eventually.
So for me, the one thing that I think keeps Pittsburgh in this game, not only besides their defense, you guys are just talking about it. It's Najee Harris for me. He, we can question the pick of taking a running back in the first round, especially for Pittsburgh, all we want. Najee Harris is a special talent, and I really think there's a good possibility he could have one of the best debuts for a running back ever. Just because of how good he is, not only just running the ball, but catching the ball as well. One game I'm looking up right now is Kareem Hunt's debut with Kansas City. He rushed for I don't think Najee is going to do what Hunt did. Hunt ran for 148 yards and a touchdown, and then caught five balls for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think Najee is going to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran for like over 100 yards, gets a touchdown with another few catches, gets close to 100 yards, and adds another touchdown to there. That right there, if they use Najee in that way, that'll keep them in this game, and it makes using Roethlisberger a little less impactful. Which for Pittsburgh, they're going to need to make sure that they win.
Well, thank you all for listening, by the way, to the Raging Buffalo as we try to get ourselves back up on here. And more or less, we're just trying to have more fun with it. And it's not going to be all sports all the time this time. You hear Marcos and Scott talking about AEW. That one's on our channel. We have ourselves a new roster of guys that are looking to have fun with this. And we have some new angles. We're going to be doing some skits. That's right. We'll have a TikTok coming up in a couple days. Embarrassed to say that a bit, but at the same time, it's where we would be putting our skits. And the other one, of course, being no, we're not shoving hot peppers in my friggin' face this time. You guys can all go to hell. Scott, you in particular, for suggesting that idea in the first place. And no, one of them that we're looking into is something that Zach and I have done on a regular basis, and Scott as well. We're going to be playing some tabletop games once a month too. So if you want to see some sports boys do some D&D, we'll be doing that every month as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and I know Zach's going to look forward to having some fun with that one too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I've played with Zach. He is already beautiful as a D&D player. So we'll try to have some special guests on for those too. So that's one of the projects that I'm really looking forward to as well. And everything. I'm talking everything. We will be talking about pop culture. We will be talking about wrestling. We'll be talking about sports. Right now, we don't give a damn. So if you have ideas for us to do, anything to talk about, you can always send us, any of us, a message. Throw us a tweet. So we'll put all of that, obviously, in the description as well. Otherwise, take care. Thank you for listening. And I think we'll just go around the table real quick with a quick Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
That's damn right. Go Bills. We'll catch you on the other side later, bitches.